Okay, there's a whole lot of stuff we can be talking about right now. We're seeing first breaks in feudalism of consciousness, of psyche, through social distinctions, caste system distinctions, which span the scope from spiritual creative expression in religions to mental creative expressions, which is the ideations of further established beliefs, sciences, into more myopic, focused areas, and then the division and breakup. So this is how Virgo transforms Aquarius. So it's natural, you know, it's just normal. Dialectics playing out, unconscious, conscious, who cares? Conspiracy of this is the only thing I care about. Everything else is reality simultaneously unapprehended. So, with that said, this fire, you know, we're in Leo season. When I was young, I loved Leo season. This time of year, you know, it's you can feel the end coming, so you want to live here now. That fire is pure. You can feel a reason in the purity. This is the fire which lights the way to building castles, kingdoms, legacies, societies, civilizations, history, reality. Through conception, of course. But it's the felt presence, the burning of the spirit in the process, which is refined, handed to that Sag energy for a higher expression, which can only be done through the self, the individual. Which is why Leo stands away opposite the Uranian energies and the Saturnian energies of Aquarius. The established norm and then the breaking of the norm, the rebellion. The facing the pain of the truth of the denials in the light of what we had given away. Being able to face that. That's the Promethean process. It happens to everyone all the time, but at key times in life, it's reminder. It's a trauma loop conviction reminder where you are refined into expression of your individuality. Either you're brought more into an external relation, like a group of that type of energy. A cult, perhaps. Cult of mind. Or you're driven further within yourself into the isolation, the alienation, the disconnect from all that once was, so you can be what might, and you don't have any language for it. And so this is where the strength of your convictions is a natural process of relating to what you feel and what you know. And so no judgment, we fall where we naturally should. And sometimes we got the spirit to go against something and it changes us, and sometimes we don't. Those are the flashes of the sparks of your purity, catching shadow, and you're finding more language in this world than you once had because you released what you thought you knew. And it's not a mental thing, it's a feeling thing. The mind is just a receiver transmitter. The purity of your signal is what you burn through And some people, it's a beautiful thing that they can't burn their own. They can only replicate because they can perfect and bring us into these new potentials. But what that does is it lures the value, and then people start to project their value into it, and then it becomes something else, and then it becomes a distinction which separates us, which brings about the Aquarian break from Capricorn through the service of the sacrifice, which doesn't realize it's a sacrifice. And so just like in life, we make many mistakes, and then we learn through the mistakes, and then we regain our power because we can claim, well, I don't want to do that mistake anymore. I would rather do this. So the direction of our energy, our focus, our heart. But we're tested with, are we worthy? Have I done enough? Have I been of service? Can I be? What's it mean to be of service? What is this life? Is it heaven? Is it hell? Am I supposed to be part of this, or am I supposed to disconnect? It becomes more of a transformation through the Aries survival energy. It brings people to those points, physically, mentally, spiritually. And that's all connected to this time, this Leo energy. When I was young, I could channel that tension, that fire, into exercise, running, working out, sports, games, competition, all the physical activities, all the mental activities you can think of. There was a charge in that. I was burning shadow through those processes. Then as I got older, as my Leo progression hit the isolation of the expansion in your own personal awareness, the ninth house stuff, then that Sagittarian angst starts to set in, because you realize this fire, you can't burn anything out there with it. And so you're burning within, and then you gotta have a way to get it out, or you're burning. A lot of people are stuck in that. And it tests your endurance. It's like this. It's like 7 of Wands, 8 of Wands, 9 of Wands, 10 of Wands, all wrapped into one. This is part of the Uranian stuff. Now, the north node of Uranus is in Gemini, south node is in Sagittarius. So when you're working your own individuality, you're distinguishing your own expression, your own fire, you're tapping into the Gemini thing, burning through the shadow and the light, finding what is the flow, the natural spiritual flow towards a purity of expression. And then when you're in the Sag, you're on that path, and a lot of times we don't even know we're on it. You can just feel there's nothing out there to burn. Or you're trying to find it out there and you're burning everything, and it's bringing you back here to this hermit energy, which is gnawing at you to find that Aquarian thing. Then eventually, somehow, you trip and you fall and you find something to burn, and it shows you. Then the transformation becomes working your flow, through your feeling. So the emotions rising up through the elemental expressions of psyche, which we compartmentalize because we're in relation to the world and dynamics. Then we over-identify with it. We think we need to talk to a shrink or talk it out, and sometimes we do, or we need to fight for this cause or that. Sometimes we do. The only issue I have with it is when you're in those possessions, and you're living on your knees, anyone else standing becomes an enemy. So the demons of your unconscious seek to be purified in the purity of something which is going to teach you, whether it be a person or a cause. And it's a beautiful thing, it's a natural thing, and it isn't easy. So imagine the world is a stage. I'm not saying it's all planned out and stuff. We can't control everything, but we try, and that's the problem. So caste distinctions are rising. The new caste is being forged, but it isn't in anything related to the old. It's can you fall into who you are? If you can honor yourself, your own fire, burn that in something that is sparked from within you, any shadow projection you are associated with is going to help you grow. I mean, it does anyway, but in this way you're more conscious of it. And you're able to co-create in process rather than just be created. So try and honor yourself. This Mercury retrograde is going to be tough. There's going to be a lot of crazies and craziness. You know, crazies are normal. That's the only healthy way for people to express tension that's trapped in them, and it's in relation to the epigenetics. You know, they're entrained to these elemental expressions, and we all are, and we may not know it. But the crazy dynamics are coming up. And all this is preparing us, making us more aware of trauma loop convictions and the power of our own distinctions standing in that contrast. So keep your eyes, ears open, keep your heart open. The way to keep your heart open is to burn pure, do what nourishes your spirit, for what nourishes your spirit. There are many ways in life that aren't for me. That doesn't mean they're wrong. It doesn't mean that my ways are wrong. Just, you got to go with what feels right in alignment with you. Many systems to figure it out. But probably nature is the best one, because it is beyond the language of mind. It goes you right into your feeling sensation. You just feel where you're at. You become where you're at. Then naturally the things within you that are not that start to rise up, and you become familiar with them. You're not even consciously thinking of them. But then subtly they start to arise in realizations. This is just nature informing, mother raising the child through the language of life, the felt presence of experiences. And when we're in relation to society and information and all that, we are placating mother. We have found another icon that brings us into a more refined expression of an elemental child. The echoes of the children of the lesser gods. And we work those things out into some kind of melody, and that's what we're doing in one way, or you could see it that way. Remember, your life is symbolic. You got to be able to understand or value dynamic stuff, dynamic language. And it's a process. We have been conditioned through movies and music and all this, not only in negative ways, but it's a natural expression of our ways of relating to beyond mind stuff. The elements which touch the spirit, the heart, the soul, which brings everything into attunement. And it's so profound that it activates this Mercury, and it brings us to Prometheus. And it's part of the collective individual process. It isn't easy, but it's good. So you're alive for all this. That's kind of amazing if you think about it. I would rather live in this than any other time. This is the only place you can feel potential, and it's uncomfortable because it's unknown. So what caste are you finding a distinction in? Make sure it resonates and it reflects the purity of your fire. Best way to do that is to bring it out through your deeds, your actions, your being in this grand becoming of whatever is to be. Alright, so Mercury going retrograde soon, new moon in Leo soon, Venus will be transforming through the North Node in Aries during the Lion's Gate, which is 8/8 and beyond. These are energies that are powerful, pure, pristine, but the world's going to give us stuff to put our fire on to burn, because that's just what happens, you know. We're all blooming. You got to put the focus where it feeds your spirit, and that's probably the best investment of these days. Alright, that's all I wanted to say, so thanks for watching, listening, and being.